When you start into gardening, if you kind of try to teach yourself, one of the most frustrating things about it is that a lot of the information you find contradicts itself, especially on the internet. One of the main reasons for that is that gardening is so region specific. So, something that works in New Jersey isn't going to work exactly the same way in the high mountains of Salt Lake City, even though they're in the same zone. So, what makes it even harder, for example, is I live in the Rocky Mountains. And so, for us, even people that live half an hour away have completely different frost dates and growing conditions and zones because elevation affects those things so much. So, understanding your specific climate and your particular needs is really important for success in gardening because then you will be able to easily adapt information that you find to your own needs. So, let's start with a basic concept that you're going to need to know. What is a zone? So, in the United States, the USDA has created 13 growing zones. Zones are determined by your frost dates and your average temperatures. So, and also be aware in other countries, the governments have usually done something similar. So, if you're outside of the US, then do a little digging as to how your country has broken it up. Use your area or zip code in the US to determine your growing zone and then memorize that because it will give you a lot of clues as to when to plant and what you can plant. When you read seed packets, when you read plant labels, it will usually have a zone because this is the way that the US helps you determine what you can and can't grow. So, for example, peonies are usually up to zone 8. So, if you live in zone 9 and 10 that you're not going to want to pick peonies. You're going to want to pick, bougainvillea or something like that you can grow in your zone that the colder zones can't grow. So, it's important to look it up, write it down, memorize it. Just to give you some context, in the US, the higher the zone, the warmer the climate, and the lower the zone, the colder the climate. So, for example, most of Hawaii is in zone 10 and 11, and most of Alaska is in zones 2 and 3. So, that can give you clues when you find out your zone, kind of where you sit right in there. And like I said, find out what your zone is and memorize it because it will come in handy as you choose what to plant and when to plant.